Welcome to the Stronger Tides Podcast, the podcast for small business entrepreneurs and corporate executives to learn more about increasing their client or employee retention through a group cruise program. Ready to drop anchor? Here's your host, travel advisor Rita Perez.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about, are you going to resolve to travel this year? You know, I am not a huge resolution maker, but I do like to pick a word for the year. But, that just didn't happen this year. I mean, with everything that's been going on, that was kind of like the last thing on my mind. But I believe maybe November-ish, I picked like a preliminary word. I picked intentional because that seemed to be the direction that I was going in. And I feel like I'm not the only one with that kind of vibe, that everything needs to be done on purpose. And we, as fellow entrepreneurs, don't want to be doing anything that goes away from that purpose. There's a lot of like shiny object syndrome for myself, and I'm sure for many others. And I think one of the important lessons from 2020 was to really gauge in on what was important. Like maybe we were a bird's eye view, but now the bird is like staring at exactly what it wants. So instead of hunting for the fish in the river, it spotted the fish on the banks. So honestly, if you can't already tell, my brain has been off mostly the past 2 weeks. I kind of needed a little break from work, and I know many of you also took a break. So intentional is my preliminary word. Not sure if I want to commit to it yet or not. But anyways, I digress. Last year took so much away from us, including our ways to escape from our normal worlds, to explore the world's unknown. Ergo, why I needed 2 weeks off. So here are just a couple of thoughts for you to think over as we rebuild in 2021. Historically, January and February are pretty busy months for us travel advisors, as everyone is beginning to plan spring break travel and summer vacations for the upcoming year. Have you thought about it yet at all? Remember, I'm here to sort out through all the mumbo jumbo on the internet, and there is so much, especially now. And I do have access to quite a few different vacation types. I do know that this podcast is focused on cruise ship retreats, and that's a lot about what I talk about, either doing a retreat for your business, for your company, or going on a cruise. But maybe that's not what you want to do in 2021. I know everybody is different on how comfortable they are. And I mean, the cruise lines aren't even sailing yet, so it's going to be some time for cruising to pick back up. In addition to that, I have access to different types of vacations. So if you're just thinking like hotel, stateside visit, or river cruise, or want to go to some theme parks, I've got you. I can take care of that for you. If I haven't been there myself personally, I know someone who has, and I have direct lines to people who can add value and extra amenities. So just know that I do more than cruise ship retreats, even though that is my specialty. Also, if you don't mind, would you please fill out, I did a quick 7-question survey on SurveyMonkey. If you go to the Rita Ventures page on Facebook, it is going to be the pinned post, the survey link there for you. So it's going to be the top post. You can't miss it. Please go ahead and fill that out for me. I just kind of want to gauge where everybody is at as far as thinking about travel in 2021, even if it's like a hell no, we won't go. I want to know that as well. The second thing I want you to think about is something that I talk about a lot. It's been proven that travel builds and strengthens bonds like no other experience. I've heard that experiencing a foreign country with your kids is worth more than any class at school, and I'm sure they're ready for a change of scenery now, especially not only the kids who are homeschooling or the kids that are actually in school as well, but mama and dada who's staying at home, they definitely want to get away, I'm sure. We all laugh at some sort of sticky situation that we've been in, or a crazy moment that happened to us along the way, along the journey, or during our trip. But the most important thing is that we will remember those stories. And a great example, because we just mentioned it on one of our recent family Zooms for the holidays, my brother surprised the rest of my family by boarding our first Alaska cruise last year. Well, 2019 last year. So literally with 2 weeks to go on this cruise, he was like, hey, I want to do this. So I was able to go ahead, finagle him, got him on. I was doing a solo cabin, so he just quickly added on to my cabin. And I was already in Seattle because I wanted to visit other family members that were staying in Seattle. They live in Seattle. And so he flew, and the rest of my family flew day of to Seattle, the embarkation day. And he saw them at the airport and said, oh, hey, look, what a coincidence. Didn't mention anything of him like going on the cruise. And they're like, because my brother is such a free spirit, so it wasn't like that's surprising that he was at the airport. They're like, well, we have to go meet Rita now over at the port. He's like, oh, okay, I'll go with you. I'll say hi to her. They still didn't like pick up on it. He's like, you know what? We're at the port. Let me just go walk with you to security. And they're like, okay. So he walks through security. We get into the terminal and he pulls out his check-in and everybody's jaws dropped. It was an amazing moment and one of my favorite surprises to have ever been able to pull off for family. So that was an awesome memory in itself, and then we had an awesome time on our Alaska cruise as well. So whatever your travel decisions are for 2021, I look forward to spending the new year every week with you right here on the podcast. I've got lots of great content geared up for this year, as well as bringing back a couple of fan favorites. So cheers to the new year.
Thanks for joining us on the Stronger Tides podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast. And if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating or a share with your colleagues. Find us on social media at Rita Ventures Group Cruising and online at ritaventures.net. Until next time, happy sailing.